The Lead. Sponsored by Lavish Boutique, Lavish Coffee, Jasper Veterinary Clinic, Jasper Bone and Joint, and Carl Cannon Chevrolet Buick GMC.
This is Greg Tinker for The Lead, and I am on the campus of Corner High School. Glad to be here today with the champions of 4A baseball and Coach Caleb Hoyle. So, Coach Hoyle, congratulations. First of all, you got a couple of your guys here with you.
I do.
We were discussing before starting the interview that obviously this is the second, well, I guess the full week after graduation, and guys are everywhere.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to hem them back up and get them
They're
here.
already on senior trips and whatnot.
So you mentioned you had 12 seniors, and I'm sure they're scattered to the wind right now, right?
They probably are, yes, sir.
But we do have a couple of guys here, so Coach Hull is going to introduce them and tell the positions they played this season.
This is junior Cole England. He pitches and plays outfield for us. And this is another senior, Vincent Malone, who plays first base and pitches as well.
We're glad to have these two guys to represent the team today. And I'll just say again to all of you, congratulations on quite an accomplishment. First time in the history of Corner High School to win a state baseball championship.
Yes, sir.
What has that been like?
Well, finally, getting back home and seeing your community here to welcome us home after we win, that says a lot in itself. We've had so much support and folks pouring into our program as far as helping any way they can to finally I guess break through that ceiling of never winning one and being able to bring one home is very special. So
tell us how close Corner's been across the years, because you guys have had some really good teams, you've had some excellent players, and you've been close.
Absolutely. Back to even into probably 2004 when a guy named Andy Davis was the head coach here. He took a team to the semifinals or the quarterfinals, I believe, and they ended up getting beat by eventual state champion Hoax Bluff, who was a powerhouse back then. I think they won like 4 or 5 in a row. And then when my brother was the head coach here in 2016, he led a team to the semifinals and ran into Russellville, who ended up winning the state championship that year. They had guys on their team like Cody Greenhill and Judd Ward that eventually pitched at Auburn and played at Auburn, and they were a very good squad. And then the 2020 team was 14-1 when COVID happened, and we all felt like that was the team that could do it.
Yeah.
And they never got their opportunity. So, like you said, we've had great teams get really close. So to be able to finally bring one home, it's been very special. So,
give us some background. You mentioned that your brother was coach here, but give us your background, how you arrived here to be here in 2024 to be the head coach and to win the first state championship. So talk a little bit about your own personal history, and then we'll talk about this team.
Okay. Well, I'm from here. I graduated from Corner in 2008. Played here 3 years under Andy Davis, and then 1 year under Shane Chappell, who was also from Corner. Did not play any college ball. Actually got out of high school and went to work for a little bit to figure out really what I wanted to do. And my brother was already pursuing a degree in education, and I had the opportunity to help him coach at our middle school down the road. And started doing that and fell in love with it, and that kind of kickstart my coaching career. And then I went on to Athens State and finished my degree, and then ended up getting on full time at the middle school before I took a head job at Oakman High School for a year, and then had a chance to come back home and work for him, or my brother and whatnot, for 2 or 3 years. And then when he decided it was time to move on, Coach Pat Keedy was my principal at the time. He asked me if I felt like I was ready to take over, and I felt like I was, and that's kind of where I'm at today.
So head coach for 2 years?
Yes, sir. I just finished my 4th season here as the head coach, and I was head coach at Oakman for 1 year before that.
So pretty, all things being equal, many guys don't get a chance to win a state championship,
Right.
but they've been coaching a really long time.
sir.
So you're blessed and fortunate to get one of these pretty early on.
Absolutely.
So there's got to be something special about this team. So talk a little bit about what the composition of this team, what made them special. Maybe even go back to when you came here as well. I know you were here, but when you were named head coach, kind of your expectation, because these guys were with you during that time, right?
Absolutely. Well, this group graduating were freshmen when I took over as the head coach, and some of them played and were involved in a lot of production for a lot of wins as freshmen. So them coming in and knowing kind of the expectations and the way things are expected to operate, and being able to do that for the next 3 or 4 years, it got to where when they're like this year as seniors, practice got easy because they knew what we expected or what we needed as far as any kind of setup or anything like that. So like our bunt defenses and first and third stuff and whatnot, they had been around it so much that they could end up teaching it. If I had to step away, that you had some older guys that could step in and show them the way. And I think that's largely a reason why we had so much success this year. Just longevity with guys in the program.
Yeah, and you were mentioning to me that pretty much everybody on this team, maybe Vincent being the exception, coming in from Texas.
Right.
I guess he wised up, got to Alabama, right? But these guys played rec ball together, so really they've been together for 10 years or so playing
correct.
ball.
They've all started right down the road here at our community park and have played together through the Dizzy Dean years and into middle school, and had a lot of success on the way up. And they've played together, essentially their entire lives. So to have a group that is from Corner. They've played here their whole lives, whether it be at the park or at our middle school, and then finally finished up in high school. For that group to bring home a state championship is very special.
So they learned how to be winners at an early age.
Absolutely.
And expected to win.
Absolutely.
So you had a lot of community buy-in even before the championship, right? So this is truly, if you want to say it that way, this is a community state championship.
Absolutely. This is for a lot of people that poured in at our park down the road. I could sit here and name so many people that have had influential, things as far as they've been so influential at our park for our park program. It's as much for them as it is for our players and our staff and whatnot.
So it was rather than being a school celebration, a whole community celebration.
Absolutely. Our fire department was here welcoming us home. Obviously all our parents and just so many folks from the community. When we pulled back on campus, we had the football lights on, the softball field lights, and as well as our baseball lights. And we were welcomed. We were welcomed with open arms. So we couldn't thank our community enough.
So talk about this team in particular. There's always somewhere along the way that you kind of look at this team and you have expectations as a coach starting the season. You know what you've got, especially you, because as you said, they've all been together. They've played for you since 9th grade, a lot of them. So coming into this season, you had at least a certain level of expectation, but where along the way did you kind of know, and maybe from the beginning, I don't know, but where along the way did you kind of say, hey, this group is special, we could do this?
Yeah, probably when we got back from spring break, we went to Orange Beach and played in the Gulf Coast Classic, and actually lost 3 games down there that could have went either way. But our guys never really faltered as far as where their head was, or their kind of they had a short memory. So when we got back from that, we went right into some area play, and following those 3 losses, I think we went on to win like 16 or 17 in a row. And really, when it set in for me as a coach that we had a real chance to win the state championship was we had gotten through Madison County in the first round, and we had Etowah coming in, who was the defending state champion, and they were the runner-up the year before. So I knew we were going to have our hands full in that series, but our guys bought in and pretty much played a faceless opponent. They weren't worried about really who was in the other dugout, and figure out a way to win in the first one. It was a very back and forth we're up and then we're down, and then we figure out a way to win the first one, and then we carry that momentum into game two, and we end up sweeping them. And I remember leaving that night on that Thursday night saying, if we, going through them, we have a very good chance to make it to the state championship. So that's kind of when it set in for me.
So chemistry, we talk about that word. It can mean a whole lot of different things. But the qualities of this team that made them special, what are those things that you, as a coach, you look back and say, yeah, our guys did this, they were this kind of person, player, whatever?
Well, and I think a lot of it is we had a lot of guys on this team that, you have your everyday guys as far as guys that are expected to be in the lineup every day, but you also have guys that have to fill roles and put their personal ego or their personal agenda to the side for the betterment of the team. And we had several of those guys that, when the stat line comes out, it may not be with their name in it immediately, but if you're watching baseball and you have any idea about baseball, you understand how important those guys are. Whether it be coming in to pinch run and stealing a base to get in scoring position, or coming in relief when your starter doesn't go as long as you expect him to, or just being a good teammate on the rail. We had great dugout energy the whole playoff series, and it's probably hard for a lot of those guys that show up and not necessarily know that they're not getting in the game, but know that they might not. For them to stand on the rail and cheer on their guys through it all, I mean, that speaks for it. That speaks for itself as far as chemistry goes. So
yeah, well, there's nobody who wins the championship without having those kinds of players.
Absolutely.
It's easy to be the first nine.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not necessarily so easy to be the next guy in, but if you don't have those next guys ready to go in, fully locked in, not just over there goofing off, and oh, you're calling me to go in. But if they're all locked in, you get good results.
Absolutely.
Was there somewhere along the way where there was a play or two from somebody like that was a difference maker? Can you recall?
100%. Yeah. And I think these guys beside us will agree. When we were in game two at Westminster Christian in the semifinals, our starter for game two, which was Eli Cannon, kind of had to go through some bad innings, I guess. One or two bad innings as far as his pitch count getting up. So it made me have to go get him earlier than normal because he's been very dominant all year. So he was kind of one of those that, you'd check on him in the bullpen and he'd tell you, I'll see you in 7.
Right.
And you just, if we get to 7, great. If we don't, then we'll figure it out when we get there. But I ended up having to go get him in like the 3rd or the 4th. And we went to another senior named Hewitt Hill, and he came in and put his team on his back and shut them down. We ended up figuring out a way to win. And probably one of the most gutsiest performances I've seen from a high school kid to come in with the season on the line and just keep pounding and, gave us a chance to win. So,
that makes it special for everybody.
Absolutely.
Because those guys who were with him, who were number 10, if you want to call all of them number 10, they all know. And when he goes in and does what he does, he's representing all of them too, right?
Absolutely.
Not just his teammates on the field, but those guys as well. So
of course.
that's where those guys really feel a sense of gratification or satisfaction.
Absolutely.
So you get into the finals and you win the game. As you're celebrating, or as the folks around the program are celebrating, what were some of the thoughts that came to you as you were reflecting on the season and maybe beyond the season for everything that led up to that? What were some of the thoughts that you had?
Well, the first thing, once we did all the trophy ceremony and whatnot, I had to get to my wife as soon as I could. My wife and my two daughters were right there, close on deck circle. So, and obviously my mom and dad and family and everyone. But I had to get to her just to, I guess realize that it's real, like it really happened. For her to kind of, bring me down to earth and say, you just won the state championship. So a lot of that going on. and then a lot of thoughts on the bus ride home about, just how much this group meant, meant to me, as far as, they were there when I started as the head coach here, and for them to go out as state champions, I mean, you couldn't ride it any better. So a lot of happy thoughts, a few sad, as far as, losing this group of seniors is going to be tough, just because, they did it the right way, and I know that they left a legacy to where these younger guys like Cole, they know how to do it the right way, and they're going to continue to do it that way. So very proud of this group that's leaving.
Well, that leadership will leave a legacy with these guys that are coming back, right? Because they see what it takes to get there, saw how it was done. And I think Cole said earlier, when I asked him what made this team special, he said that we did the little things well.
Absolutely.
We showed up and we knew what to do. We did the little things well. And like you mentioned, practices were easy because these guys knew the routine and they were bought into that.
Absolutely.
And then, the younger guys watching that, well, when you have success and win a state championship, that sends a big message of this is the right way to do it. Right?
Absolutely. And hopefully, as a younger group, our freshman and sophomore group, now that they've kind of been around it and seen a team win a state championship, they understand what it takes to win one. And hopefully it's not another 84 years before we win another one. So this is definitely something that we want to repeat. We would love to do this again in the near future. So,
well, speaking of that, just forecast a little bit. I know you probably had a senior-laden starting lineup, so there's going to be a lot of replacing that.
Right.
Be a whole new team in that regard, and you don't have to go into detail, but just talk a little bit about forecast for us a little bit what that might look like next year.
Well, next year we're moving back up to 5A, which those previous teams that I talked about, the 2016 team and the 2020 team, they were all in 5A. So we're going back to that, and we're playing in an area with Center Point, Hayden, and Springville. So we'll be competing against those guys as far as a spot in the playoffs. But with us, losing 12 seniors, we did have depth. We do have guys behind those seniors that are leaving, that we're getting a lot of reps of practice, and then played in a lot of games this year, to where that experience will take up, will go on with them. So I am looking forward to that, as far as having, 10 or 11 guys that have been in the fire, and played varsity baseball at a high level, and them coming back, they know the expectations, and there's no doubt that they're going to go to work. So
you've obviously got a good staff.
I do.
And so you want to mention those guys, maybe head JV coach or whoever that's.
My varsity assistant coach, his name is Brian Wallace, and he actually joined me last year. He'd been at Gardendale for I think about 16 years. He's been around high school baseball for 31 to 32 years. And just has a wealth of knowledge that helps. He's our outfield coach and helps with hitting as well. And then Coach Kyle Hayes, who actually played here as well, he was kind of our pitching guy and took care of our catchers, and he did a fantastic job. He called most every pitch of most every game, and did a great job doing it. So I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at without the staff and support. And then last but not least, I gotta mention my manager, Trip Reed. Trip's a student here. He'll be a sophomore. His brother actually is graduating. He's a member of the team as well. If you've been to my field lately, it looks the way it does because of Trip. He helps set up for practice, but he also makes sure that our playing surface is at an all-time high. So I gotta mention my man Trip as well.
Sure.
He works countless hours up there for us, and we can't thank him enough. So.
Well, he'll be a kid you want to hang on to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Save you a lot of work.
Absolutely.
You got some kids moving on to the next level. Talk a little bit about that.
We've got two pitchers. One Brendan Connor and Brody Dunlap, both moving on to pitch at UAB. And then another pitcher, Eli Cannon, who we spoke about earlier. He's going to play at Wallace Hansville. And then senior catcher Cole Raspberry is also going to play at Wallace Hansville as well. So we're very, very fortunate to have some guys that have the opportunity to go play at the next level, and we wish them best of luck.
So a couple of them will join a couple of guys from Summerton Christian as teammates at UAB.
Absolutely.
So that's I'm sure they know each other well, being this close.
For sure.
And the fact they'll be teammates now will be a kind of added add to everything, right? State champions joining each other. Any last thoughts about this whole experience? Anything you want to say? I know you've already complimented the community, but is there anything, because this will live forever in some form or another, as they say once it goes out, a word to your seniors or the community or anything else you'd like to finish up with?
The biggest thing is, with this year closing out with the state championship, we've proven that we can take a team from corner and do this. And I think that speaks volumes to our younger guys, as far as our guys in the middle school and the park level, that, we have a good culture of baseball here at Corner. And we're going to continue to push to make this another, something that doesn't just happen, like I said, every 84 years. So, that's going to be our goal for every year, is to go compete for a state championship. And, we're going to go to work and keep grinding until we get another one. So
yeah, well, you can enjoy the moment. I hope you'll celebrate longer than Coach Saban used to. 24 hours.
Yeah.
But so you'll have this forever to display. And I know that as the school starts back next year with everything, the celebration will continue. But then sometime around January, you have to put that away and say, okay, guys, we got work to do now ahead of us. But congratulations. I mean, it is a big deal for any of us who've coached. We know how hard it is to do, because in the final analysis at every classification, as everybody knows, there's only one that finishes with the blue map.
Absolutely.
Mia Hollingsworth at Jasper said something that stuck with me. She said, there's only a handful of players, male or female, depending on the sport, who end their playing career, if they're a senior, as winners. Now, that doesn't mean that, that's not pejorative that others are losers, but there's only that one team that walks away and can say, my very last game that I ever played, I was a winner.
Yeah.
And there's something to that, and it's hard to do.
Absolutely.
So the fact that you guys have done it, and hopefully it'll happen again real soon, is phenomenal. So for the whole entire Corner area, and I would say even for those of us in Jasper and the rest of Walker County, we kind of take a lot of ownership in that too.
Absolutely.
Right? We're proud of you guys as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So congratulations to you and to your team.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all having us.
Yeah, it's been our honor. So congratulations to Coach Hull and to the Corner Yellow Jackets for their 4A state championship in baseball. And we do look forward to next season, and as they prepare, hopefully another one of these will be in order and in short order in the next year or two. So this is Greg Tinker for The Lead saying good evening or good afternoon from Corner High School.
The Lead, sponsored by Lavish Boutique, Lavish Coffee, Jasper Veterinary Clinic, Jasper Bone and Joint, and Carl Cannon Chevrolet Buick GMC.